morning. My name is Matthew Johnson, and I am the pastor here at Glencoe United Methodist Church, and welcome back for another worship service on this beautiful day. I am thankful that you are joining us virtually for this service and staying safe during this time of the pandemic. And I am definitely glad that we have the opportunity to actually communicate with one another through social media and through the internet. So that way we can still be united amidst the separation. Friends, today's service is going to be similar to normal, but there's going to be a small difference. I will not be giving your message today. Instead, our district superintendent, Bev Coppley, will be giving the message today. And I'm very thankful for her and her ministry and her wisdom, especially her kind words that she is going to give us today during this pandemic. Friends, let us open our worship today with a word of prayer. Will you pray with me? Gracious and loving God, we thank you for the opportunity to gather virtually so that way we can worship your holy, precious name. Lord, during these times, be with us and guide us and give us your hope and comfort. Help these words that we hear today, whether it's through song, through prayer, or through the message, to give us hope and inspiration. Help us see that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that there is a future ahead that is not gloomy. Thank you, O God. Amen.
Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that makes his heart adore you. Hope of a life spent with you. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, oh so highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all for love's sake became poor. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me.
Today's lesson is from Joshua chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. Hear now the word of the Lord. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' assistant, saying, My servant Moses is dead. Now proceed to cross the Jordan, you and all this people, into the land that I am giving to them, to the Israelites. Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon, I have given to you, as I promised to Moses. From the wilderness and the Lebanon as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, to the great sea in the west shall be your territory. No one shall be able to stand against you all of the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. This is the word of God for us, the people of God. Thanks be to God.
Is there
Greetings in the name of the risen Christ. I'm Bev Coppley, your superintendent, here with a word from the Lord to Joshua in the first chapter. I will be with you in the same way I was with Moses. I won't desert or leave you. Be brave and strong, because you are the one who will help this people. Somewhere along the time that our young ordinands were born, so was an information superhighway called the Internet. I imagined using it to look up trivia and occasionally send instant or electronic messages to my friends, postage free. I didn't imagine it as a ministry essential. For me, essentials were pulpits, classrooms, conference rooms, and phones. I never even conceived of the internet as a ministry lifeline. Yet here it is, connecting me with you and you with your congregations. Were it not for it, we would all feel much more isolated than we already do right now. This superhighway we have come to know as the internet will become even more important to us over the passage of time and generations. The threshold has been crossed. Online ministry is here to stay. Our information superhighway is only an asset for us if it offers good information. Information has always taken many forms in human experience: true and false, good and bad, realistic and inflated. Add to that our nature as political animals, and it becomes liberal or conservative, blue or red. There's nothing that cannot fall prey to it. Not even a virus is immune. So we come to a time when the world and the church both consider next steps, not after, but through this pandemic. I too want to be in a post-quarantine, post-pandemic world, but that's not where we are. We're not even in a mid-pandemic world yet. This crisis has fallen upon us to navigate, just as it fell upon our ancestors 100 years ago. It's our turn, our day, our misfortune. And I have no doubt that it will shape our lives and our churches for years to come. All that being said, I still want to be on the other side of it. My daughter's engaged, and this has drastically altered her hopes for a specific kind of wedding. We are not on the other side of it. I feel like Moses has died and we are all Joshuas, receiving orders from the Lord about a brand new day. As God said to Joshua, I will be with you in the same way I was with Moses. I won't desert you or leave you. Be brave and strong, because you are the one who can help this people. Our information superhighway brings executive orders, ecclesial wisdom, multiple opinions, and politicized notions about this pandemic. We receive advice about what we can do, what we can't do, what we should do, and what we shouldn't do. We have to practice the ancient art of discernment and the Wesleyan work of doing no harm. And we will have to practice these things while being watered from the fire hose that is social media. There'll be pressure, just as there is every day in non-pandemic ministry, pressure to perform and pressure to participate. Your tap shoes may sit on a shelf, but someone will call for you to take them down and begin to dance to the rhythm of public life as they understand it. And like every other day in non-pandemic ministry, you will have to choose the faithful step. Each year when we receive new clergy, I describe for them what my ministry has looked like when it was the healthiest and the most fruitful. We use a simple equation. To thrive equals to strive plus to revive. Come what may, this is applicable in all seasons, under all conditions. In a time of pandemic, we are certainly tempted only to survive, to not get the virus, and to keep as many people as possible from the harm of the virus. But to be Christian is to seek more than survival. We seek to thrive, Jesus created us. He lived and died and was risen again for us to thrive. There's no reason that we cannot do that during this time. To thrive means to live within the sound of God's voice, to hear it even when others are loud and the superhighway is roaring right in your laptop. To thrive means to practice ministry and life with a spirit of love and goodness. To thrive means to do no harm to others or to yourself. Practicing thoughtful ministry while avoiding harm is part of what it means to strive. I expect that most of us are striving right now, working harder than usual. You've been living along a steep curve of innovation, doing everything differently, learning new skills at a pace not practiced since you first learned to walk or talk. When one is doing that, one must revive regularly in order to remember our rightful role in creation, lest we would become overextended and lose judgment. I dare offer my usual advice about ministry in this deeply unusual time. I do it as a simple reminder that my goal for you is that you would thrive, strive, and revive during this period. Number 1, steward your time and energy. It's okay to say, I have a commitment at that time. No is indeed a complete sentence. Learning new things takes physical and emotional energy. You can become depleted working from home just as much as you can become depleted working on the run. Divide your week into thirds, 21 time slots for a week. Have an awareness of how you use those 21 time slots. While our calendars aren't particularly useful right now, this is one helpful way that they can be used. Remember to exercise, and please refrain from indulgence in unhealthy things. Number 3, everything's not an emergency. If it's an emergency, attend to it. Because of your heightened anxiety, more things will feel like an emergency than usual. Number 4, trust God and love people. This will always be true. And it's now especially true about that famed information superhighway that we travel upon all day long. Number 5, try again when you goof it up. Model confession. Practice confession. Give yourself some grace. And by the way, all online worship services don't have to be an hour long. One of my most memorable recent online worship services lasted 17 minutes. Number 6, rethink what it means to have everything. Focus on what you have right now. Right now, everything may just mean that your congregation and your family are healthy. Number 7, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Most of us have the opportunity to experience true Sabbath on Sundays during this period. Don't trifle it away. Number 8, stay connected to the district. Ask for help. Read our emails. As I tell the clergy, no secrets, no surprises, no subversions. You're accountable for the events that happen in your building. In addition to caring about spiritual health, church leaders are now the stewards of physical health as well. You are ultimately responsible for carrying out all the policies about cleanliness, safe numbers, social distancing, routes in and out of your buildings, attendance by name, supplies, everything. None of us wants your church to be the location where outbreaks occur because you put pressure on people to open or gave in to pressure from people without regard to public health. Number 9, keep looking for that man or woman of peace. Jesus talks about that person in Luke 10. Someone in your congregation has a reasonable and God-given head to help you get through this. Find that person. and give that person a platform for leadership. Number 10, do all the good you can. Attend to the ordinances of God, as Wesley says. This means caring for your families too. Everywhere you go, you increase the possibility of bringing the virus home to those you love. Pastors and church leaders are essential workers, but please remember that most of us can do our work from home. Please don't let your hubris make you or others sick. I urge you to be at peace and to lead with a non-anxious spirit. Take your time. Your church may be ready to open sometime this summer, and it may not. That's okay. It's okay if it's not ready. For now, you're going to have your hands full, creating systems and safe space for that to eventually happen. You all must spend the next several weeks helping your congregations focus on that. Don't get out in front of your skis. That's more good ministry advice. The district office feels it's imperative to slow down the need for physical gatherings. There's so much that you have to get in place before you can even consider them. If you're unaware of the severity and the detailed measures of physical distancing, please reach out to the district office so we can offer healthy ways of ministry during this and other stages of the pandemic. One source we have heard about refers to the work as triage, transition, and transformation. Triage, transition, and transformation. We're still in triage, hopefully moving towards transition, but still very much in triage. We do look forward to the transformation that will be ours. All that being said, things will never be the way they once were. There's grief in that. There's a vain hope that if we just go back to church, it'll symbolize that this is all behind us. I wish it was that easy. I miss church too. It's not that easy. Bear with people. Bear with each other as we discover that reality. And bear with yourself and with your own grief about the fact that the place we have seen as the epicenter of ministry has changed. Church is not about the building. It never was, but we're awfully fond of it, and we identify it with ourselves and with our efficacy. Buildings were not the heart and soul of the early church or of the Methodist movement, but we've become very attached to them. There's lots of work to be done beyond them, in the hearts and souls of people who need hope. I dare say our churches have made more disciples in the past 8 weeks than they had in the previous 8 months. And for some churches, perhaps the previous 8 years. The church has the ear of the people right now, and that has nothing to do with the building or in-person worship. You will be a generation of leaders who will wean us from our love of buildings and our old models of worship into a new world of discipleship, into a deeper faith than we have experienced in our lifetimes. You will need to practice very principled leadership during this season to continue to bring this to fruition. You will all need to lead compassionately, but with strength. Your yes will be a very influential yes, and your no may be difficult to say or to hear. But remember, we've all been charged for over 200 years with the task of doing no harm, and we've done it in sickness and in health, in plenty and in want, in war and in peace. We can do it right now. As God reminded Joshua in a new chapter of history, so I will remind you in closing. I've commanded you to be brave and strong, haven't I? Don't be alarmed or terrified, because the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And this God who is with you knows all about new chapters. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.